The ending of Stranger Things has finally arrived with season 5, and along with the huge supernatural battles, emotional character reunions, and heartbreaking twists, one storyline continued to hold everyone's attention just like it did from season 1. The complicated love triangle between Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve. Fans have been arguing for years about who Nancy should choose, and the final season brings that question back in full force. Even though Hawkins is dealing with the biggest threat yet, the personal problems between these three characters don't magically disappear. In fact, they get even more confusing. This is why many viewers are wondering, do Nancy and Jonathan break up? Do Nancy and Steve finally get back together? And does Nancy actually choose anyone at all? As the story unfolds in the first 4 episodes, the focus is mainly on the giant war against Vecna, the Upside Down, and the terrifying creature spreading through Hawkins. Because of this, no one really gets to sit down and talk about their personal problems. But even without open conversations, it becomes obvious that Nancy and Jonathan's relationship is not the same as before. The problems actually began way back in season 4 when the Byers family moved to California along with Eleven, leaving the rest of the Hawkins gang behind. For the first time in years, Nancy and Jonathan were in a long-distance relationship and the cracks slowly started to show. At first, Jonathan and Nancy behaved as if the distance was no big deal. They acted like things would stay the same and that they would even attend the same college after high school. Nancy had already imagined their future together, believing Jonathan felt the same way, but everything changed when she discovered that Jonathan had decided on his own not to go to college. Instead, he wanted to stay back in California to support his family. The real issue was not the decision itself, but the fact that he hid it from Nancy. When the truth finally came out, it created a deep feeling of distrust between them. Nancy felt hurt because she thought they were planning a shared future, while Jonathan felt pressured and unsure of how to be honest without disappointing her. This gap between them continued to grow in season 4. While Jonathan was far away, Nancy spent more time with Steve, who had clearly never gotten over her. Their shared missions, dangerous adventures, and strong chemistry brought old feelings back, not just for Steve, but for Nancy too. Even though she tried not to show it, the audience could clearly see that she still cared about him in a way she didn't fully understand yet. When Jonathan finally returned to Hawkins at the end of season 4, there was hope that they could fix everything. But season 5 reveals that their problems didn't magically disappear overnight. 18 months later, Jonathan is still trying hard to hold on to the relationship, but Nancy seems distracted. She is dealing with family responsibilities, community chaos, and the pressure of being one of the main fighters against the Upside Down. Meanwhile, Jonathan, starts competing for Nancy's attention again because Steve is still around, still loyal, and still very much in love with her. This naturally brings back the awkward tension between all three of them. In secret, Jonathan even asks Murray for help because he wants to buy a ring and propose to Nancy. His intention is sweet. He wants to commit fully and prove his love. But his timing is terrible. Nancy's little sister Holly goes missing, her parents get attacked by a Demogorgon, and Hawkins is in crisis once again. Despite Murray pushing him to seize the day, Jonathan is unsure if this is the right moment. Even worse, there is a strong chance that Nancy may not say yes to the proposal. Nancy has changed over the years. She has become more confident, independent, and focused on her future. She has grown into someone who wants to leave Hawkins, explore her career, and break free from the chaos she grew up in. Jonathan knows this, and it only adds to his stress. Meanwhile, Steve remains a constant presence. Long before Jonathan entered Nancy's life, Steve Harrington was her boyfriend. Their relationship was far from perfect, but they loved each other deeply until everything changed when Will went missing and Nancy partnered with Jonathan in the investigation. Steve's heart broke when she chose Jonathan, but he never fooled himself into thinking the feelings disappeared completely. By the time season 3 arrived, Steve tried to move on with Robin, but that ended as soon as he learned she didn't like boys. Still, that experience helped him grow as a person. By season 4, he openly admitted that he wanted to have a future where he has a big family, a stable life, and someone he truly loves, and deep inside, he hoped that person could be Nancy again. When Nancy followed him into the Upside Down without hesitation during one of their missions, even Eddie noticed how strongly she seemed to care. That moment reignited Steve's hope more than anything else. But hope does not equal reality because Nancy was still with Jonathan. Season 5 continues this emotional tension. Steve stays close to Nancy, trying to show her that he has matured and changed for the better. He doesn't try to steal her from Jonathan, but he quietly lets his actions speak, protecting her, supporting her, and proving that he is reliable. Jonathan notices all this. Eventually, Jonathan finally snaps and confronts Steve. But surprisingly, Steve does not argue or deny anything. Instead, he calmly tells Jonathan that if his relationship with Nancy is broken, only Nancy and Jonathan can fix it, not Steve. This honesty hits Jonathan hard because he knows deep down that Steve is right. With everything happening around them, the danger, the stress, the fear of losing loved ones, it becomes clear that Jonathan and Nancy are heading toward an emotional confrontation. All the secrets, misunderstandings, and buried feelings are ready to explode. Many fans believe that Jonathan's proposal might be the final push that forces Nancy to reveal how she truly feels, and there is a strong possibility that their relationship may not survive this moment. But here is the surprising twist: just because Nancy and Jonathan might break up, it does not mean Nancy will go back to Steve. Even though many fans root for Nancy and Steve, it is also very possible that she chooses neither of them. Nancy is older now, and after everything she has experienced, monsters, heartbreak, death, survival, she may reach a point where she wants to put herself first. If Hawkins survives the final war, Nancy may decide to follow her original dream of getting out of the town, building her career, and focusing on her own future. This is something she wanted even back when she and Jonathan planned to attend the same college. In the end, Stranger Things 5 seems to suggest that the love triangle will finally end, but not in the way fans expect. Instead of choosing Jonathan or Steve, Nancy might choose independence, freedom, and a fresh start. This possibility feels realistic because after years of trauma, she deserves a life where she can breathe without fear. Meanwhile, Jonathan and Steve also deserve paths that help them grow without depending on Nancy's decision. So do Nancy and Jonathan break up? The story strongly hints yes. Do Nancy and Steve get back together? Not necessarily. The ending suggests that while all three care for each other deeply, they may not stay connected romantically. Sometimes growing up means moving on, even from the most intense relationships. And for Nancy Wheeler, season 5 might be the chapter where she steps into a life she chooses for herself, not one that is shaped by supernatural chaos or painful love triangles. For the first time, she might build a future where she is free to decide her path, even if that means going her separate way from both Jonathan and Steve. In the end, what fans get is not a perfect romantic closure, but a realistic, emotional, and meaningful conclusion that fits Nancy's journey from a scared teenager in season 1 to a brave leader in season 5.